Hi, welcome to Art Draw. Today I'm going to draw Mask Maker Daigo from Fortnite. This is the epic outfit Fortnite skin. So let's go in there. I'm going to draw sort of a half body shot, sort of this big, arms coming out this way, so the arms are sort of bent and hands coming up in the air there. So we're going to go to the top up here first. What I'm going to do is just start with that hair. So what I'm going to do is sort of come out from about this point, just flick the pen around up like that, for a cool bit of hair, back down. And just sort of flick the pen upwards this way. Got this sort of hair coming around the top, wiggle it around like that. We've got that kind of hair coming upwards, maybe a little bit on the left there. What we can do with that is we can just draw a nice kind of curve around that there, which is the mask area. So the top of the mask area and the hair at the top, I'm going to come, just bring my pen down this way here. And it's got these two cool horns coming out of the mask. So what I'm going to do is probably come down to about this point, draw a nice curve there, and then with that curve, I'm going to come upwards, go on the outer, so bring the pen up, nice and high, nice and curved. On the left-hand side, just curve it around like that, bring it up there. There we go. And then on this side, probably put the curve in around there. It's got that curve. And then what I can do is go on the right-hand side and curve that up that way there. And then over here, bring the pen up, swoosh it up that way. So I've got these cool looking horns coming out of the mask there. Okay. Now I've got those in, I can continue the rest of the mask. So I think the face probably comes down to about here. What I can do is come down where this line comes down, go behind that horn area and then down kind of this way, just smoothly bring it down like that to a chin area. And at the back here, this point, this will come sort of behind, probably around to about here. And then we'll just bring the pen around there, and then what we can do is bring this down here, curve it around at the jawline, and then join it up at a nice pointed element there. So we've got that mask element. While we're there, let's put the eyelets in. So go down from the center, sort of come down to about this point here, come over to the right a bit. I'm going to do nice sort of clipped oval, slight diagonal eyes. So start maybe about there at that dot, just bring your pen up and then in and up like that, and then below it we're going to just bring the oval around and up like that. What I will do is just pop in a cool circle there, and while I'm here I'm just going to fill that in there, so we've got a nice sort of inks area. On the other side, a little bit of a smaller size because of the perspective, but we're probably going to go out from about, say, that dot there. Again, we're going to just curve the pen up, pop it up at the top there, and then do another little curve, just bring it up there at that point. And what we can do, again, we can just draw a little circle in there and just draw around that like that, okay? Cool, okay, that's the main parts of the mask there. It's a little bit more detail, but I'm going to do that later. Let's go and do the ear. So the ear is going to be around this point here. Just going to draw a nice oval coming up and around, just like that. Maybe a couple of little lines just to show it's an ear. So go around there, like a top little element to it, like that. And then we've got just little fragments of like a hair just going around the back there, kicking out around here. Maybe a couple little lines. And as we go to the neck, and what I will do is just fill in a little line there. And I'm then just gonna just kick out a few little bits of hair, sort of coming out around that, just around that area there. And one little extra bit of hair coming down, sort of cascade behind the mask and sort of pop out a little bit. Just there by the horn. Just got that cool hair. Got a little line there for the neck. The other part will come down sort of this way, so just sort of bring your pen down there. There's loads of little cool little organic lines on this outfit, so this is quite fun to draw. Let's continue with the outer part. I'm just going to come out, start, bring my pen out there, and over this side, just bring my pen out there. We're sort of working our way out with like the base shoulder area by the neck, and then we've got these big old shoulder pads he's got on. So what I'm going to do here is just come upwards here, and along like that, and then underneath here I'm going to come down this way, just give it a little curl there, a bit like the hair we've just drawn, and back down here, over this way, up and around there. I'm just going to leave it there because I think his finger's going to come into that element. Got a cool little horn there, and another one that sort of comes out around the back, but I'll leave that at the moment. As I go on to the other side, I'm going to come out just from that cracked area there, so like that little curve. I'm going to bring my pen out, curve it around like that, bring it back along the line there, just curve it up there. Then I'm going to just do a little line there, and then I'm going to work out, as I'm going down here, the arms coming out. So what I will do before I do that is just sort this torso area. So from this curl, I'm going to draw like the armour. I'm going to draw a nice little curve there where the armour comes around for his chest plate. And on this side, I think it kind of swoops down from about here, sort of swoops along down like that, swoops back up, right up to the edge here. This line we can just join up, and then we'll come down. Nice curve there, we've got like the chest area. From this point, yeah, same sort of thing, we can curve around, nice chest area. Because this chest plate is also like that cool little facial feature. So I'm gonna bring the pen up here and sort of down this way. This is like the nose area, so we've got like a nostril on this bit, here and here, maybe a little ink at the bottom there. Maybe we'll just colour in that nostril area a little bit more. Maybe just draw in so it looks a little bit more like a nose. Then the mouth kind of hits out over here, so I'm going to bring my pen out here, curve it down, and then just taper it to the bottom there, and that's where I'm going to sort of peter off. Then on this side, just for the outline, I'm going to come out probably from about here. I'm going to curve my pen in for the back area there. Then what I'm going to do, the armour comes up here, sort of curves back around, sort of tapers down this way again. It's got this cool little area here. On the side here, just going to sort of draw, it's got like little bits of armour coming off the side, so I'm going to just sort of draw in a little edge bit of armour there, and that probably comes out around here too. And then a few like cool little kind of organic lines that kind of start to trail down here. So just draw a few little lines in, let it trail down there, and it's got a nice bit of dynamic look to it. Okay, I think I should do this arm now. So let's do the bicep. The bicep comes down this way, nice little curve down here, and then there's another little piece of armour here. So just going to draw like a little curve in and around and up, a little point on the edge there, and we've got a little point, looks like a little pointer or fin there. The rest of his arm sort of comes down this way, so I think his elbow probably comes up to about here. So I'm going to just grab the pen, just come down, nice and fluid, and up there. As it curves up to the wrist area, what I can do is just a little line there, and then I'm going to draw a nice curve around there. It's almost like a little band on the arm. Bring it around there, join it up, and that'll help draw the rest of the hand. So it's almost like a piece of armour or plate that goes up this way. So I'm going to bring my pen up here, curve it around there, and then from this point, just taper it up that way. Then what I've got is the hands, and the hands fairly technical. So first of all, nice little curve in here. Just come up on the outer side. What we'll do, it's almost like a little bit of armour around here. So I'm going to loop around, nice sort of curved little bit there, and then I'm going to just pop a couple of little pointers And then from this point here, I've got one finger, so I'm going to come out, sort of dink it out and around, so that little finger, get it to curve up. Next finger sort of comes out here and around there. Next finger sort of comes up and around, sort of in a grabbing sort of position. And then the last one comes up around, sort of kick it out, around like that. Let's just fill these in a bit. So a little bit kind of chunkier. And then we can come around this way here, come up, we kind of got the thumb coming up this way, so around like that, okay? So quite technical, kind of achieved what I wanted to do there. That's quite a tough one. On this side, I'm gonna come down here first of all. I'm gonna bring a line down here, where the bicep is, and I'm gonna bring a line down here, nice and loose, bring it up there, and then we've got, probably actually here, a couple of little spikes going on. And then it's got this band area again, so I'm gonna bring my pen round like this, kick it up, sort of bring it around here. Again, there's a lot of armor on this side, so I'm gonna just scoot up to there. This can join up like that. And then I can bring my pen up this way here and just join this up. So I've got that armor point. There's a little sort of pointer there. And then up here, similar sort of thing. A little bit of armor on this side. So it's gonna do a nice sort of curved element there. Pop in a couple of little pointy bits there. And then I'm gonna come out from the wrist, come out and draw the palm. There's a finger here that goes into that shoulder pad element we were just talking about. Keep going up, a couple of lines, bring it out and around. That's the next finger. And we'll come up here, around the next one, and then the top one sort of comes up nice and jagged, around and back down. Now the thumb is behind that, so we're just going to give a hint of the thumb behind that area. Then we've got that cool little outline there. What I will do, just grab the chunkier pen and just commit to these lines I've drawn. So I'm going to just go around it and just bump up those major lines I've drawn where possible. Come around here, kind of just like bump him up a bit. So the major lines are kind of here. Just sort of taper up to the mask area. I'm quite keen to leave the hair, sort of make more of the sort of mask area, so really sort of come out nice and blocky around these points. And you just get a slightly thicker pen. Just bump him up a bit, make sure just come down center point here, like that. Then we've got a nice area around that that's just sort of filled in a bit more. It's a bit more interesting looking. Okay, right, while I'm here now, let's pop a bit of detail in. So it's almost like a little bit of a crisscross in the center here now. So just a few little lines, just give that hint of that going on. It's almost like a little arrow point here. Sort of the mask has a couple of little sort of points that go along. Just draw a few of those in. And then on the neck area, we've got these cool sort of curved little bits. I'm keen to sort of draw a load of these in the right areas. Gives it a nice bit of detail on here. Same goes with these arms. I think there's maybe a little bit of armor there. And then what we can do, we've got these sort of swirly little bits coming around. Same in here as well, we can kind of swirl these down. Just some really nice, I think there's a bit of armor here too, so I'm just gonna sort of draw around that and then just pop in these nice little curves. It starts giving it this nice texture around our character. Maybe a few little smaller lines around that as well. Cool, okay. Right, now we've got this cool facial feature here. So there's little split off bits of gold in here. So what I'm gonna do is just draw these little splits first of all. So I'm gonna just bring my pen down from the top, the eye elements around here, so a little circle there. They sort of splinter off around the abs. So I've got one little splinter here, got one little splinter sort of coming down this way, around and down there. And I've got one sort of coming around this area, sort of coming around that way. Then over here, I can only see a little bit on the picture, but what I'm going to do is sort of bring it down here, upwards there. So we've got a nice sort of chunky, wobbly bit. Again, we've got these little eyelet bits, so a nice little curve, and then there's almost like the little eye bit goes around that. Here too, it sort of comes up from here, so I'm going to bring my pen around that point. And again, we've got some nice little sort of curved elements coming around. Then we've got this nose in, maybe the nostril bit comes in here. And then from about here, what I'm going to do is come around, nice little curve for this sort of manic smile. Just go around that lip, and then there's some cool little fangs either side of that mouth, and then kind of like little sort of teeth elements, and then underneath that a few more little triangles, and then this sort of mouth bit sort of curves down here. I think there's a couple of little prongs down here, one there, one here, and then there's a couple of like larger sort of teeth elements, and wobble it around so it sort of hits it, sort of goes down this way. This mouth area, we can just draw a few little lines in. And at the back here, there's a few more of these little points here. Okay, just on this wrist bit, I'm gonna come down here. There's some nice little squiggly designs in there, and then beyond that, just gonna draw in a few lines. Same here, just gonna sort of draw in some little, just really loose little bits of detail, and then in here I can draw some little lines. And there's almost like a little eye element here, little eye element there. The gold point sort of comes around again, so I'm just going to draw a nice little bit of sort of piping around here, just to, when I come to colour that in a bit, it's going to look really cool. Same over here, just going to leave a little element there for that sort of line piping. And then on these horns, we've got like little sort of flecks of black, so I'm just going to pop a few of these in just around here, just to liven them up a bit. And then what I do, I think what I can do is sort of come in here and just sort of draw in some sharper lines in the middle here, so it's just a little bit sort of darker in those shaded areas around here, maybe up around this point. And then in this mouth area here as well, I can sort of just sort of fill this space with a nice piece of ink just around there. Okay, all right, what we'll do now is just beef up some of these lines again. This sort of chest place, I think, earns a little bit of that, so just really sort of beef up maybe around here. Maybe this eye point has got that in, this one too. Okay, so I've just gone in there and just sort of beefed up the edges, just a little bit more shading. It's quite a tricky one to do, this Diago character, but I've kind of gone in there, just added a few more bits and pieces, and you can add as much detail as you like, really, it's up to you. This one I think earns a little bit of detail on here. There's so much going on, it's quite fun to just keep tinkering with, I guess, as we're working on it. But you can see those dark areas sort of around here. These work really well. And it just sort of pops out of the white, it pops out a load of that detail that's going on in there. So that is Diago, the Mask Maker Daigo Fortnite skin. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know who I can draw next. And I hope you've managed to do a good job with the skin. All right, bye for now.